Now we are going to discuss the chemical properties of an acid. There are three chemical properties for an acid. The first one is the reaction with the metals. For example, an acid can react with uh, all type of metals. For example, it can react with the sodium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, and so on. The second reaction is the reaction with the metal oxide and metal hydroxide. So it's important to understand the difference between the metal oxide and the metal hydroxide. Metal oxide is a metal attached with the oxygen is known as metal hydroxide, and a metal species which is attached with the OH negative ion is known as metal hydroxide. And the third reaction is the reaction with the carbonates, with the metal carbonates. A metal attached with the carbonate ion is known as metal carbonate. This carbonate is sodium carbonate. For example, this one is magnesium carbonate. Magnesium is the metal and it is attached with the carbonate ion, so we termed it as magnesium carbonate is a metal carbonate. So these are the three species which can react with the acids. The first is the acid reacts with metal. The second is the acid can react with metal oxide slash hydroxide. And third thing is the acids can react with metal carbonate. So these are the species which can react with the metals. But now I'm going to discuss about the products of these chemical reactions and the equations so you can understand it in a better way. The first reaction is with the metals. So whenever an acid reacts with the metal, it produces two substances or two products. The one is the gas, which is hydrogen gas, and the second one is the salt, and this salt is usually a soluble salt. Soluble salt is a salt which can dissolve in the water. Okay, so these are the two products for the reaction of an acid with the metal: the production of hydrogen gas and the production of a soluble salt. As you can see in this equation, an HCl, which is an acid, it is reacting with sodium, which is a metal. This is an acid. This is a metal. Okay, let me change M. This is metal and it is producing hydrogen gas and a salt which is sodium chloride, and this is a soluble salt. So after writing the equation, you also have to balance this equation. Usually you have this question in your exam where you have to not only write the equation, you have to balance it out, and as well as you have to write the state symbols. So for the state symbols is like you have to write the states of the substances or the reagent used and the product produced. So this HCl is in aqueous medium, you will write AQ. This sodium is in solid state, you would write S. This hydrogen gas is in gaseous form, so definitely you are going to write G. And the sodium chloride is also a soluble salt, so you will write the aqueous. These are known as state symbol, and this type of equations mark for usually have 2 marks where you have to not only write equation and you have also have to write the state symbols. So the next you can see is another example of the sulfuric acid reacting with the magnesium. This is exactly the same. This is sulfuric acid, this is magnesium. They are reacting together and they are producing hydrogen gas and the magnesium sulfate, right? So this is the another example of the equation. The second reaction was the reaction of an acid with the metal oxide or metal hydroxide. Like in the previous reaction, hydrogen gas and salt is producing. In this reaction, salt and water is being produced. You can see in the equation that this is the magnesium oxide, a metal oxide. This is a metal oxide and it is reacting with HNO3, which is an acid, and it is producing two compounds. One is the salt, which is magnesium nitrate, and the second one is water, right? So this is another example where potassium hydroxide is reacting with an acid and it is producing salt and water. So the products for the metal oxide and metal hydroxide are exactly same. So that's why I had written both of them in the same category because the products are same. This reaction is also known as neutralization reaction. this is the one of the most prominent reaction in the chemistry, the neutralization reaction. Why this reaction is known as neutralization? Because the two product produced, salt and water, are neutral compounds. Both of these compounds have pH of 7. So that's why we call this reaction of an acid with metal oxide or metal hydroxide is known as neutralization reaction. This is another name for this reaction. So now the last reaction of an acid, that is the reaction of an acid with metal carbonate. Whenever a metal carbonate reacts with the acid, it produces three compounds. The first one is a gas, which is carbon dioxide gas. It always produces a particular gas, which is carbon dioxide gas. The second compound is salt, and this salt is also soluble salt, and the last thing is water. So these three chemical reactions are also the identification reaction for an acid. For example, you have an unknown species X and unknown species, and you reacted with the metal, a gas will release, and that gas has a pungent, that gas produces a pop sound. So you can represent the reagent which we have, X or Y, is an acid because it has produces hydrogen gas by reacting with the metal, sodium or any other kind of metal. So same, you can use the third reaction, which is the metal carbonate. You can react the unknown solution with the metal carbonate, and if it produces carbon dioxide gas, a gas which will turn milky, lime water milky. So you can identify the reagent which you have is an acid. So it has three products: carbon dioxide gas, salt and water. This is the copper carbonate, which is a solid compound, which is an metal carbonate. You are reacting with an HCl, which is an aqueous state, and the products which are being produced is copper chloride, which is in aqueous form, water and hydrogen gas. So these are the three chemical reactions for any acids. All type of acids perform these reactions. Either it is a strong acid or either it is a weak acid. It's not like that these reactions are only restricted to the strong acid, but yes, I had shared the examples. So what you have to do is you have to practice these equations, so it will become much easier for you to write equations in the exam.